Okay, so we're going to be talking about identifying functions. And when we're talking about functions, it's important to know the difference between a function and a relation. And it's a relationship, all functions are relations, all relations are not functions. So any relationship has, usually when you're looking at things, you've got what we think of as kind of an input or a domain. You put something into a function, and it gives you an output, which is your range. Now, what we think of this as, we tend to think of this as like X and Y. So usually what will happen is we think of some sort of relationship as listing some values of X and a corresponding value of Y. And this is the way a function should work. But a relation is, if you've got a relation, this is just mapping some, this just maps some values of X onto values of Y, or this domain, I should say again, and the range. And the thing with relations is a relation can do things like, say I've got like A, B, C, and D. If I've got 1, 2, 3, I could say, okay, A maps to 1, B maps to 2, C maps to 3, and this would, so far, this relationship would be a function. So A only maps to one thing. Every member of the domain only maps to one item in our range. So this, so far, is a function. As soon as I do something like, and if I do this, oh, D also maps to 3. So a range can double up. I can have multiple things in the, I could have, 3 could happen if I enter in either a C or a D. So this is still a function. So this right now is currently a function. What wouldn't be a function is if I take this same list of A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, and all of a sudden A could be 1 or 2 or 3. As soon as I do this, this is not a function. So not a function, it's not a function because A maps to more than one thing. And that is going to show up in a couple different ways. One of the things that you're going to see if you're given a relationship, you can tell by looking at members of the domain and range. So let's say I'm given a relation. And here, instead of just listing domain and range, I'm going to just give us a set of values here, a set of X's and Y's. And I'm going to do 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 7, and there we have it. So when I'm looking at this, I could say, oh, my domain is your X values. So the domain here is just 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. My range is my Y values. 1, 3, and 7. 1, 3, 7. And the one thing that I'm noticing here is, oh, I've got 1, 2, and 3. I've only listed each domain thing one single time. So this is a function. I'll do another example here. So if we have a relationship that is, let's say I've got 2, 2. I'll do 3, 2. I'll do 4, 2. I'll do 5, 3. Okay, take a look at this. I've got, for my domain, and I'll go ahead and put this is the x values. I've got 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I've only listed each of those once. So just like that, I can tell you that this is a function. Whereas my range, oh yeah, range, I've got 2 and 3. So my range, I've doubled up on a bunch of these, and that can happen. It doesn't matter that my range doubles up. It only matters if my domain doubles up. So let's give you an example of something that is not a function, what it looks like in this format. And let's say I've got something like, I'll do 1, 1. I'll do 2, 3. I'll do 2, 5. I'll do 3, 1. Oh my gosh. So here, my domain is still my x values. I can spell 1, 2, and 3. I've got 1, 2, and 3. And my range is 1, 3, and 5. 1, 3, and 5. But because I've listed 2, if I enter a 2, I could get out either a 3 or a 5. This is not a function. Now, one of the ways that you're going to spot this, so this is what you look like, this is what these relationships look like in this kind of what we call set notation. But the other thing that you're going to see is this, you're going to see these basically listed on a graph. I'm going to pull out my graph paper. So we have what we call the vertical line test. And again, what we're doing is we're looking for x values that have more than one y value. And anytime we have just x equal to a number or a vertical line, each of those vertical lines should only be through one single point of our graph. So here's my y, here's my x, and if I have something like, oh, I don't know, I'll do a graph like this. Every single vertical line I could come up with, every vertical line is only going to pass through this, my function at one point. Doesn't matter it crosses an axis or anything. Just, oh, this is only going to cross each of these at only one point. So this, because it only crosses at one point, this is a function. If I take another one, And say I've got something that looks a little bit more exotic. You know, it doesn't matter that I can come up with any point that it will only go through one spot. Is, hey, that only crosses once. This only crosses once. But if I take a vertical line and it touches in two places, I only need one counterexample. Because it touches two places right here, because of this one single vertical line test, this is automatically not a function. And you're going to see some examples where, it might cross 2 or 3 times. Here it crosses 1, 2, 3 times for a single line. Not a function. And this is the basics of that vertical line test and kind of the difference between functions and other types of relations.